General Electric's third quarter profits and revenue came in lower than expected. And let's face it, the expectations were not that high to begin with. And you tell me, what's the headline here? Is it that, or is it the fact that the dividend has been cut from 12 cents, a quarterly dividend, cut from 12 cents a share to 1 penny per share?
Yeah, that stings a little bit. They say it's going to save them about $3.9 billion. So I think, as a shareholder, I think that's a good thing because, the dividend yield hasn't been enough to keep up with the share price decline. So even though you were getting that few percent over a year, you're still losing. Like, you're down 50% depending on when you invested in this company. And so I think that to move forward, they're going to need that $4 billion. They have to handle the insurance claims on their GE Capital, which could be up to $15 billion. The power business, which is their largest, still down 33% in sales in the quarter and turned into an operating loss. So this business is definitely still struggling. They could use that $4 billion. I think that they could hopefully put it to better use. They're going to have a full investor update early 2019, similar to what Flannery did. The new CEO, Culp, he's going to come out and kind of lay out his plan. So far, it seems like they're still going to continue selling off the transportation business, spinning off the healthcare, and paring down their 2/3 ownership of Baker Hughes. Maybe that changes early 2019 when they announce their plans moving forward under the new leadership. But I don't think that the dividend cut is a negative thing. I think it had to happen.
No, it's absolutely the right move. It's just one of those things that, and I'm sure Larry Culp, who's been CEO for about an hour and a half, I'm sure he and his team are fully aware of the fact that there's a whole swath of investors, institutional and individual, who look to dividend-paying stocks, and when those stocks stop paying dividends or significantly cut their dividends, they're going to jump ship. Larry Culp has already, he's not waiting to 2019 to at least share some of his plans. Part of the announcement was taking the power division and splitting it into two separate units. One is going to be gas products and services. The other is going to be nuclear power conversion, grid solutions. I don't know anything about that business, but I have to imagine that if nothing else, this is going to provide greater insight into those divisions. Yeah,
to see how they're doing, and also hopefully some greater focus within the divisions for the employees themselves and management. I do think that it makes sense to split them. I mean, natural gas turbines and steam and nuclear are two vastly different businesses, so no real reason why they need to be combined other than they're power generating. But yeah, I think natural gas kind of struggling. Seems to be a lot of supply out there versus the demand for these natural gas turbines. And they did have a little hiccup with Exelon and one of their nuclear turbines that kind of had some faulty equipment. So they had to go out there and shut that plant down. And so that's a bad look for them in a sector that's quite dangerous with nuclear power when you're talking about a malfunctioning unit there. So they get that turned around, but down 33% in your biggest division, that hurts, especially as long as they've been around.
One other thing that caught my attention before we move on to the big oil stocks, Larry Culp kind of drew a line in the sand talking about we're not raising money. We have no plans to do any sort of capital raise.
Sure.
I really hope they don't have to, because they don't appear to have a lot of other financial levers they can pull. They've already cut the dividend down to 1 penny, so it's not like they have a lot of other options.
Yeah, we'll see if that $4 billion can carry them. But if they have to go hit the debt markets and selling and issuing equity when your share price is down this far, not a good look either. So hate to see him have to rebuff on his word this early in the game.